Hello everyone and welcome to the Cherryheart podcast. I am Sandra and this is a podcast where I talk about crochet, knitting and sewing, the things I make. You can find the show notes for this podcast just below the video, so that's where I put the names of the things I talk about, pattern names, yarn names, information, things like that. And you can also find all my patterns and tutorials and other things that I do on my website, which is cherryheart.co.uk. So yeah, how are you? How was your Christmas? I hope you had a nice one if you do the Christmas thing, or I hope you had a nice holiday if you don't do the Christmas thing. We did have a nice Christmas. It was lovely. Yeah, it was really quite nice actually, because we were hosting this year, so everyone came to us. So and things got quite fraught in the run up to Christmas, which I'll come back to. But yeah, I always worry a little bit about hosting, because you want everything to be right. You want to make sure you get everything that you need, and you sort of, will we get the good turkey, and will we get this that we need, and all these things that ultimately don't really matter, but of course you do worry yourself about. But yeah, it all went well and it all went smoothly, so it was really lovely. But yeah, I didn't get to do my sort of some of the things I wanted to do in the run up to Christmas, because everything got like a little bit fraught. So various different things went on, the biggest one of which was Bertie. Poor little Bertie just came down really quite ill at one stage. And it just happened overnight. We just woke up one morning and all of a sudden we're like, oh, what's wrong with him? Oh my God, he's not himself at all. And he was just sleeping all the time and just not interested in anything. He just was not himself at all. So we took him to the vets and there was sort of no obvious thing wrong with him. And he gave us some tablets to try and they didn't seem to really help. In fact, he seemed to go downhill still. So I took him back to the vets and they did some more tests, but even then there was nothing. There were a few little indications, that weren't quite 100%, but nothing that sort of made a whole, oh yes, this clearly leads to this diagnosis, this is what's wrong. So then we tried some other tablets and they did seem to help a little. And then sort of just gradually he has got better and recovered. I'm glad to say he's good now. He's back to his old self again now, thankfully. But it took a good few weeks. It wasn't till sort of just after New Year really that I thought, no, yeah, he's definitely back to himself again now. So that was a very strange sort of mystery illness. So yeah, that was very weird. So my into Christmas run up did get a bit derailed, so I didn't get to do my Christmas special podcast that I normally like to do. So yeah, I didn't get to speak to you then, so it feels like it's been a long time again since we've spoken. So that was a shame. And then by Vlogmas as well, I think I did 5 videos and I wanted to do a couple more ideally. And I think on the last one, I don't know if you watched it, but on the last one I put, maybe this is my last one, and I was hoping I'd at least get one more out, but yeah, I couldn't manage it in the end. But that was okay, it is what it is. So but overall it all came together after that, and it was a good time. So I will share some of my Christmas makes with you. This is what I was hoping to introduce in my Missing Christmas podcast. So I decided to sort of set aside what I had been doing for December, and I thought I'll have some Christmas December makes, and I'll do it for the month of December, and then I'll go back to my things I was working on. So I'll talk about my December makes, then I'll talk about where I am with my other makes, and I've got some nice incoming goodies to share, and then I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the end of the year and the next year maybe a little bit. So the first of my December projects is my magical Snowflakes blanket. So this was my original blanket, the sort of icy blue snowflakes, and I had the pattern out for that. And once I completed this one, I knew I wanted to make another one, a bigger size and in a whole kind of rainbow blow of colours. So this is the kind of snowflakes element of the pattern, and then the magical bit I wanted to be like this rainbow of snowflakes. And that's why it's magical, because you don't really get multicoloured snowflakes, but I wanted to do it anyway. So not last year, the year before now, I started working on snowflake motifs in all of these kind of different colourways, and I made a load of the snowflakes up, almost all that I needed. And then as it got into, because we moved early last year, I had to pack that away, which was fine. And I thought, oh, well, I'll come back to that next Christmas. So that was my plan. I'll finish it off back when we're around to wintry Christmassy time again. So that's what I did. So I got my motifs out again in December. And then I needed a couple more. I think I was missing 10 motifs and the little half side motifs. So I made those up. And then I've been joining and finishing. So let's see if I can show you this. I think I might stand up. I don't know how to do this. To sort of show you all the colours. Ooh. There we go. I'll pop a little video in of, give you a bit better overview of it. I think in the Vlogmas videos I did show me working on it a little bit and sort of deciding on the layout of the motifs. So then I've just this December been joining them and finishing the border. So yeah, it's been a really enjoyable project to work on. And it's been quite nice to do it in those two sort of stages, because I think I'd got to the stage before I packed it away where I just about got to, I've had enough of this. I've sort of a bit fed up of making these motifs. I want the motif to be done so I can move on to the next stage, and I knew I wasn't quite done with it. So the fact that I got to put it away and then I brought it out fresh again and I saw the lovely colours again, it was actually really nice, because then I was like, oh yeah, oh this is pretty, oh I only need a few more, and then I'm at the next stage. So that was quite a nice way to do it, to kind of break it up. So yeah, I've just sort of enjoyed working through and joining them all together, and it just worked out as it happened. It worked out perfectly, and I think I just finished the last bit of the border on about the 30th of December, I think. So I got it nicely done in that sort of month slot, because I think I was thinking to myself, if I don't get it done, if I just get them joined to a certain point, or I'll put it away and I'll just get it out next Christmas again. That's fine. It'll be done when it's done. So, but as it happened, it's just rather satisfyingly worked out that it fit into the month. So yeah, so I've got quite a lot of pleasure out of joining this and seeing these lovely colours. I've sort of gone for a kind of angled gradient of a rainbow-ish style in these sort of almost kind of fun jelly colours. So I'll talk about the yarn. I've used a lot of advent calendar minis in here, not all from one, just a mishmash of other ones that I had. So I've got maybe like 4, occasionally I've got 5 of any one colour in here, because that's how many I could get out of a mini. So this is 4-ply yarn I'm talking about here, fingering weight 4-ply yarn. So I've got quite a few minis I've used, and then where I needed other colours to sort of suit my kind of idea, I've used sort of leftovers from other projects. So I've got some of Sam Betsy Makes Strictly Come Dancing special colourway in here. This was, I think it was called Walk, the, you know, the dyer, and that was something I used in a shawl. So I've got some other bits in here, but yeah, it was quite a nice way to use like yarn advent minis, because by the time you've made a few in each colour, you've actually got enough for quite a big blanket. And then the white yarn is Drops Baby Merino, which I quite often use for fingering weight projects. It's actually a sport weight yarn, but I find that it works with the fingering weight really nicely. And it's sort of a little bit more affordable way, because normally, you know, if you're bordering each motif and joining them and doing the border, you do need quite a reasonable amount of that yarn. So it's a nice way of filling the gaps, finishing it off. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure. There we are, like thumbnail shot. I'm not 100% sure how I will use this or where it will be used. I guess I just get it out at Christmas will probably be the best way. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yes, I'm just going to get it out at Christmas. I would quite like to back it in a way, because like I really like the openness. I think it sort of shows off how the motifs, the sort of decorative prettiness of the motifs, so I really like it for that. But from a blanket point of view, it's still warm though. When I was sitting there, I had it over my legs, it still made me nice and warm. So maybe it doesn't need it from a coziness point of view, but I thought it would be quite nice to sort of back the whole thing and make it a little bit more substantial, I suppose. But before Christmas, if you were here watching then, I was showing my little mini hexagon flower quilt, which I backed, and that luckily turned out really well. And I kind of don't want to what's the word, jinx it by attempting another one and have it go to hell in a handcart, because I think this one would be a lot harder to do. For a start, I've got this I've left the points on, which work for a lovely accentuate the snowflake design idea, but if you were backing it, how would you deal with that? Yeah, so I'm not sure I will actually dare risk attempting to back it. I also think you need to do a lot more little joins through. I think you'd need to do one on every point, so that would be quite time consuming as well. So yeah, I don't think I'll actually risk backing it, but I do quite like the idea of backing it. Maybe that's next year's project. But so that's the first thing I made. And then my second project is a sewing project or an embroidery project. And I've got this in one of my incoming goodies. So this is a lovely little pouch, Christmas themed pouch, that my lovely friend Sam from Betsy Makes made me. This was part of my Christmas present, so I love that, and it's absolutely perfect for this. I mean, this does fit in properly when I do it, but it's just great for keeping this little embroidery project together. It's just the right size. So let's get this out. So this is one of the Sew a Little Happiness Everyday kits by Sarah Edgar from Pretty Fabrics and Trims. And I've got the Christmas one. So I have almost finished this now. I'm just finishing off, what am I doing? Just finishing off the mistletoe one here. Got to finish the bow. And then I've got to finish the little tag that goes in this corner. And then I'll be ready to sort of quilt it up and just make it into its little sampler. But I've done all the other embroidery bits, I think. Oh, I need to finish that square as well. Yeah, so I'm almost there with that one. I did continue working on this sort of up to the end of the holidays, if you like, which I've kind of counted as the 6th of January. Kind of everything went back to normal. Up until then I was still in holiday mode. So I think Gary had to go back to work earlier than that. Well, I don't think it, I know it. But Minnie only went back to university kind of that weekend. So then that was the sort of first Monday when we're like, okay, everything's back to normal now. So I have been working on it through that period. But now I'm so close to finishing, because I was thinking the same thing as I've done with the blanket. I thought, if I don't finish it, that's fine, I'll just put it away and I'll get it out next December and I'll progress it a bit more and I'll do it that way, that's fine. But because I'm so close now, I think I might just spend a little bit more time on it in January and get that finished and done. But yeah, I've done one of these before. Which one did I do? I did summer. Last year now. And I did get to a patch where I struggled with that, because I really struggled doing satin stitch, and there's quite a bit of satin stitch on the summer one, and there isn't so much on this one. So I think I found it a little bit easier to work on. So yeah, the whole sort of thing was a little bit just a little bit easier and therefore a little bit nicer. But I really like these, the holly, that came out nice, and I really like the little candy cane with the holly as well. Those are my favourites. And I quite like, so the gingerbread man, I think he's got a bit of a weirdo face. I haven't done his face very well, but I really like this sort of you do make him in chain stitch, and I really like that effect as well. And couching, got some couching on here that I hadn't done before. That's quite nice. So yeah, happy with how that's coming along. That's been nice to do. So now that I've finished or almost finished those, I'm going back to the things I was working on before Christmas. So that is a knitting project, which is my peak sweater. So if you were here before, I won't sort of talk massively about this because I've talked about it before, but just to catch you up if you are new. Welcome, by the way, if you are new. It's lovely to have you here. So this is the peak sweater. It's by SuviKnits, and this is my progress on it so far. So I think on my last podcast I just joined under the sleeves, so I know I've got a bit more body on since then, and I've started a sleeve. So the sleeve is the bit that's got the pattern, underbody is just plain. So it's quite an oversized V-neck jumper, and it's got quite not balloon sleeves exactly, but you know, quite a sort of a wide sleeve that then sort of cinches in at the wrist. I just really like the style of it. Actually, I can probably show you the picture. Okay, there it is. So you see what I mean? It's quite a wide sleeve, and then it just comes in nicely. But yeah, I just quite like that they had a little bit of detail on it. But I quite like the idea of having a kind of vanilla project, if you like, to work on in between other things. That I could just pick it up and do a few rounds in front of the telly. So I'm in no particular rush to get this one done and finish on it. I'm happy just to kind of work through it, and it'll be done when it's done. And it's a nice thing that I can have to work on when I'm sorting out other things. On the other hand, I do really quite like it, and I do want to wear it, so I kind of want to get on with it. So I'm working on this quite a bit at the minute. This, I've started the sleeve since Christmas. I haven't had a massive amount of time, but I have at least progressed the sleeve. So that one is ticking along. And then I think I hear Mr. Bertie. He was fast asleep downstairs. We'll see if he whittles anymore. And then my other project that I'm going back to is my Sitting by the Fire project. Again, if you are a returning viewer, if you've been here before, you might have seen me talk about this. So this is just a simple granny square blanket. Just 3 rounds grannies. It's made in, it's 4-ply yarn again, finger and weight yarn, but I'm holding it double. So it's working up as if it's a DK or double knit yarn. And I've got a few double knit yarns in here as well, just a couple, but mostly it's 4-ply held double. So I'm using a load of minis, a load of leftovers, and sometimes some, like I've pulled some full hanks out of my stash as well, because you know, for the right colours. So I'm going for these really warm colours, which I really like, and I've just got the odd little cool blue in just occasionally. So it's all reds and pinks and oranges and browns and yellows, mustardy yellows, and then the outside are generally these sort of creamer, beigeier colours, but the occasional darker one thrown in as well. So I quite like that kind of randomness, and I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm not planning it out too much. I actually wrote a blog post about this on my blog, but it was before Christmas. So I have started a Substack. I don't know if it's a blog, a Substack publication they call it, I think. Yeah, so I've just really wanted to, like, my vlogging voice seems to have come back. It had gone, and I was trying to force it back for quite a few years. I was like, I really want to bring that back and sort of get back into that way. I really enjoyed that when I did it, but I couldn't fit it in. It just sort of didn't work. But then all of a sudden, just before Christmas, sort of around November time, I was like, yes, yeah, I've got something to say now. I want to write it, and I'm kind of thinking again about blog posts. So, but blogging on Blogger is quite hard work now. So I was looking for other options, and I came across Substack. Pardon me. So yeah, I'm giving that a try. So I will link to the post for this in the show notes, is the point, because I've now put it into my archive section. So on my website, cherryheart.co.uk, if you go into the, you know, the three little lines, the hamburger thing as they call it, to bring the menu, there's the blog post, which takes you to my Substack, because that's where I'll be blogging now. But there's a post archive option below, and that takes you to my old blog where all my old posts are. So it's actually on the old blog. But that's where I sort of chat a bit more about, you know, the yarns, you know, what I'm doing and so on. So if you do want more information on that, that is there. But so once I've made up, so this is my little start piece, so I could see how it would look, see if it was coming out the way I wanted. So I've got about 70 squares in there, and they're all joined. But what I'm doing now I've done that is I'm just working on the middles. I've got some boxes with my made up middles in. So I have that one, and I also have this one. So these are in a different box, A, because the first box is nearly full, and B, this is the stage I got to before I put this away and got my December projects out. But I've got to, I don't know if you can see, but I've got all of the ends in there, so I've got to weave in the ends on a lot of these. Quite a lot of these actually, my god, all of these in fact. Yeah, so there's a lot of squares there where I've got to weave in the ends, and then I'll be at the next stage again. So basically I take all of these, I make a middle in every single colour, and then I match them up, the middles up to every single colour again, to make some sort of pleasing combination to make all the squares. So I'm going through that again and again and again until I have enough squares. So I make them all up, I weave in all the ends, and then I start again. So I can't remember how many squares I've got now. I'm over halfway though. I've got over 500. Yeah, but I'm just getting so much enjoyment out of just working on this. It's so simple, but the colours are just so pretty, and it just makes me so happy. So yeah, it's just pure fun, really. I really want this blanket to go on my bed, so I'm incentivized to finish it too, because it's got a purpose. But it's just made me think, well, I'll talk more about this later when I do my sort of year review, but it has made me sort of think about plans going forward. So I'm back to working on that. I haven't done anything with it so far again this year, but I've pulled it out again ready. So those are my projects. Incoming goodies next. First one is I had 2 yarn advents for this Christmas. I have, well, let's just show you the yarn, because look at this, glorious. Oh, lovely, isn't it? So I've got 2 in here. This one here is Beehive Yarns, and it's a beautiful gradient. It doesn't look like it in a minute because they're all jumbled up, but it's a beautiful gradient of yarns. I'll show you the picture actually. So this was sort of some of the inspiration pictures that she showed when she was talking about the yarn advert. Beth was talking about it. So it's based on these gorgeous books, which I actually have some of. I love them. And so that's your basic gradient, your sort of reds all the way through to goes to blue. So that I would like to use in one project to make the most of that beautiful gradient. Beth is so good at these gorgeous gradients. I've had a Beehive Yarns calendar before, which I got in DK weight yarn, and that was another absolutely glorious gradient. So I really enjoyed that, which I'd like to use together in some sort of project, but I don't know what. And then the other one I've got is Dandelion and Dogwood, which is this side, and this was her Barbie advent. So this was just really good fun, and all of them are based on a different Barbie. You know, she's got like camping Barbie and sweet shop Barbie and yarn shop Barbie and things. That's really good. So I think this could be split up if I needed to, though. There's less of a sort of like, you know, it wouldn't have to be kept together. It would be nice together, but there's not a specific like this works as a gradient, this doesn't necessarily have to work that way. So I might do a project using all of them, or I might use these in different bits as and when. And then I got the full skein version, so I got a Christmas Day full skein to open as well. So this is Holiday Barbie. So yeah, so I really enjoyed those, opening those. Right, I'm going to get the Bertie boy because he's whinging. Here he is. You going to say hello? Here's my little boy. No, he's fidgeting to get down already, aren't you? You going to go, are you? Oh, there you go. There's your good boy. Yes. Yeah, so he doesn't want to know. He'll be with us apparently. He is quite happy, gone off to his bed and settling down. So where was I? So I showed my yarn advents. This is the other thing, is we had illness over Christmas as well. Gary was ill. We were all ill actually, in various different stages. And it's a really nasty bug. I don't know if you've had it as well, but you kind of get ill. You get ill. You start to feel like you're getting better, and then you go downhill again, and it's like you're getting ill again. And it just will not shift, the blooming thing. So I still feel kind of all bunged and horrible. Like I feel okay, but I just it's bunged and horrible. Just makes it feel like it's like a car in the morning, you know, you're all coughing and spluttering and you feel like, ugh, you need a bit more choke to get you going, and then once you're going, you're alright. That's an old person reference, if by chance there's anyone young here who doesn't know what a choke is. Right, anyway, so presents. So I showed you my lovely pouch from Sam, and then she also got this for me. It's like a little personalised picture with all of my lovely favourite things on. So it's got, look, my little cherries and me, and look, my little YouTube channel. Lovely whirl, crochet hook, knitting needles, nice little flowers. In fact, I take birds, photos, little birds on there, look, coffees. It's like all a picture of all my favourite things. It's just, oh my god, it's such a thoughtful, lovely gift. I need to ask her where she got it from actually, because it's just, it has got a little signature on there, but I don't know who did it. That doesn't say Sam's name, so I don't think Sam did it herself, but it's just such a wonderful, thoughtful gift. Oh my god, I love it. So obviously I'm going to have to get that framed and put that up, maybe up here, maybe on my other wall over there. But she thinks of the best things. She always thinks of such wonderful gifts. Yeah, so that was very lovely. And then Helen got into contact with me, lovely Flora Makes, and she sent me some lovely gifts as well, and I'm just going to show you. Perfect, or what? She said, oh, I just saw it and thought of you, it's only a little something. I was like, oh my god, it's perfect. And then look, she made me this gorgeous little pink cushion as well. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love that. I'm going to put that on my desk. Be my little go-to pink cushion. I just love this little that little thing with the collection on pins on it. It's so cute. Almost, it's one of those where I don't really want to use it. It just looks perfect like that. But I will, but I'll just enjoy seeing it as well. And then, not really a gift, but it is new to me, is look at this cardigan I've come across. So my dad was actually clearing out some stuff. We're trying to go through some of my mum's stuff now and sort of clear some stuff out just to get him some space back. And yeah, so we were looking through, and I don't think my mum made this, and it would be too big for my mum as well, so I suspect my nan actually made this. But there's this lovely Aran cardigan. Because he was like, oh, there's some hand knitted things in there, maybe you could, you know, did you want to do anything with them, could you reuse the wool? And I was like, I'm not sure, it would be worth, you know, trying to reuse the wool. So there was like a little child's one that I've given to someone else in the family, but yeah, this one I was like, oh no, I should just be having that, thank you very much. So I've got this lovely cardigan, and it's really good as well because, you know, I could knit this for myself, but with these cables and everything as well, I don't really enjoy knitting cables. I love how they look, but I don't enjoy doing them. So I thought, yeah, I will have that. It's just a little cable pattern down in the ribbon as well. Yeah, it's just really nice. And it's nice and thick and cosy. I wore it home yesterday. Yeah, nice and cosy. I think it will look really nice with some of my check dresses that I've got and loads of other outfits. So yeah, I very strongly suspect that this was by my nan. And I thought, I hope it fits, but I got it home and it does. It's actually a little bit big for me, so that's quite good. So it'll go over things. So yeah, I'm quite chuffed with that. That's like an extra present. And new to me, but it's good to keep it going as well. And obviously I like that it was made by my nan and everything, so that's really special and lovely. So those are my goodies, my lovely goodies I've had. Right, there's going to be a little of a continuity shift here because, as you can see, I've got my cardigan on now, and I'm also on a different camera because I tried to record my kind of end of 24 review going into 25 chat, and it's very waffly and incoherent and garbage, so I thought I'd have another little go, and my batteries run out completely, so I've shifted to this and we'll try again. So I just wanted to quickly talk about, like, as I get to the end of each year, I kind of think about like the ideas I had at the beginning, and now I'm at the end, did I actually do any of those things? What worked out? What kind of didn't work out? And what do I want to focus on for the year ahead? And sometimes I do a word of the year and things like that, sometimes I don't. So yeah, and I've also really enjoyed this year the kind of the Apple Music, like the replays where they do the kind of little overview of like, oh, these are the music you've listened to this year, and this is your top song, and this is how long you listen to music for, and all of that sort of thing. And the Spotify Wrapped thing I think is very similar, and other apps do them. And yeah, I just quite enjoy them. I find them quite interesting. So I've done a little cherryheart replay and I've put together some of the information that I kind of just keep a little track of to myself and just find interesting, that I put together in a little video. Now I'm going to put it at the end of this video, so if that's of any vague interest to you, fine, stick around and watch it. But I'm mostly just putting it there for my own interest, really, as a sort of little memory thing for me. But yeah, so it's got me thinking about what I will do for the next year. And I haven't finished thinking about that yet. I've set aside some time to think about that tomorrow, actually. But one of the things I have come to so far is that it might be a bit of a year of blankets for me. So making this has been a bit of a revelation in the fact, just going back to this very simple kind of repetitive, just making the same motif and seeing those little piles of colourful motifs stack up, I've just enjoyed it so much that although I'd kind of stopped myself making blankets a little bit, or at least tried to rein it in, if you like, because I've got plenty of blankets, I don't actually need many more blankets. I mean, I've found a need for this one, but it's, you know, it's hard to justify, just keep churning them out and churning them out, or so I thought. But now I'm feeling a bit different about it. And I've just got so much pleasure out of doing this. I just think I want to make them. And I haven't completely figured out what I'll do with them if I just make them, because most of them I'm not going to be able to use. But there are things I can do, you know. There's people in the family, we've got lots of children in the family now that could make use of them maybe, or, you know, I'll find other ways to find homes for them or something. Maybe like some sort of charity endeavour might be quite a good idea. I don't think I want to sell them or anything, that's another idea, but I don't think that's something I personally want to do, so that probably wouldn't work. But yeah, I figured I'm just going to make something and it's going to make me happy, and I'm going to try that for a while, because normally I make things because I want the thing. And I think the more years I spend crafting, the less that side of it is important to me. It's just getting the joy out of the making the thing is becoming, I mean, it's always been there, but it's becoming a much bigger portion of it. So there's that side of it. And then also on my stash busting side, because I've always had this aim, I guess at some point in my crafty career it kind of got out of control and I'd like to rein it back in again. And although I've been trying to gently chip away at it, and I have made progress of definitely getting to a much better stage now, there's definitely work still to be done. So I still want to try and aim to use up more of my yarn than I actually bring more yarn in each year. I mean, obviously you always need to bring some in for there's a different project and you haven't just got the yarn for it. Or, you know, even a blanket, oh well, I need more of this certain colour to finish. There's always things. So I don't want to limit what I buy necessarily in that way. I don't want to sort of put any cast iron rule in, but I just want to generally try and tilt the scales in the right direction. So yeah, I want to keep working on that. And I think just the fact that I've used some lovely 4-ply yarns, because I've got so many 4-ply yarns, but using it double in this way has been a little bit of a revelation in how nicely they work up, how it makes like a really nice DK weight yarn, so I can combine it with DK weight yarns if I've got some. And it sort of makes things a bit more of a manageable size, because although I've made quite a lot of 4-ply blankets and I don't have a problem doing that, you know, you do have to put in, that's more motifs per blanket, you know, whereas with the DK they're going to come up a little bit bigger and it makes it sort of the project seem a bit more manageable. So yeah, I really like the idea of perhaps using a bit more that way. So that's my kind of one of my goals, or my vague intentions if you like, and then I want to think about some of the others. So I mentioned earlier that I'm starting to write on Substack now, and I've just been really enjoying using that platform. So there's an app, a Substack app, and you can find other people to follow and read on there, and then they recommend people, and I've found it a good way to find people naturally, but also to find good and interesting people to, you know, who are writing things that I'm interested in reading. And it seems easier to do that in a way that's productive and useful and interesting, rather than just being bombarded with this just stuff that's I just don't find very interesting. You know, on Instagram they're sort of bombarding you with these reels that's just full of garbage that I just don't want to look at, and it's not interesting to me. I was like, why are you showing me all this rubbish I'm not interested in? Whereas on here I'm finding, you know, there are some things that you're like, no, not for me, keep away from that. But it was quite quickly I found I could find stuff I was interested in, so that's been quite nice. And I've been enjoying reading some of the people I've found in there, and it's actually the closest thing I found to that old feeling of blogland, like if you were part of that back in the day when blogs were the big thing, and just that sitting, reading, taking it in, but being able to comment and communicate with people, because you can sort of, you know, you can chat on the app, and so there's a sort of social element to it in that way. Yeah, it's been really nice. It feels like quite close to that old sort of little blogland ecosystem, so I'm really enjoying it from that point of view as well. So that's nice. But anyway, on there I've been reading some interesting articles, so I might sort of have a look at those and yeah, think about that for my year ahead and see what I'd like to do in that way. So that's probably it from me. I might talk a little bit more about my ideas or intentions for the year ahead, maybe, if I come up with anything that's interesting. But I'd be interested to know what you guys do as well. Do you do the same thing? Do you kind of look back at the year you've had? Do you sort of plan or set any goals or vague ideas of directions of travel, as I prefer to term them, for the year ahead? Do you sort of set yourself any challenges, like some people like to do 25 in 25, things like that, don't they? Or their make 9s and things. Do you find that motivating? Do you do a word of the year? Or do you just say, no, I don't do any of that, I just bumble along? Yeah, what do you do? I'd just be interested to know how other people approach it. It'd be nice to know. So yeah, leave some comments below and let me know what you think of that. And I shall see you next time. So I hope you find some lovely, calm and peaceful crafting moments. Until I see you next time. Bye.